Welcome to my zone online school. My name is Mr. Litwai Dumi, and I'm joined by Pomwene. Welcome, Pomwene. We are grade 6 and 7 mathematics, and before we start with our lesson, let us remember to put on our mask, sanitize our hands, make sure all the parts of your hands are sanitized. Keep the social distance, and our lesson for today, it will be whole numbers. So we are now on page 13. Let us go to page 13. So we'll start with the whole numbers, whereby the objectives of that lesson will be ordering, comparing, and rounding of numbers. So we'll start with ordering numbers. We can arrange numbers in either ascending order from smallest to largest, or in descending order, which is from the largest to the smallest. In short, ascending order means going up or rising. Descending order means going down. Then we move to comparing, the notes for comparing. We have to apply the signs that determines which number is bigger than the other. So those signs are the one we have to use to compare the numbers. So on that note, under comparing numbers, at the end there is to compare numbers. Maybe we can just correct that one. Looking in the box, what is written there, the sign which is opening to the right, it means less than. The one which is opening to the left, it is greater than, and the equal to is already known by most of you learners. Then there's an example below, which we need to use the signs to compare the statement. There is an example which is given there, which is 46,023 compared to 46,200. So the sign which is used there is smaller than. Moving to page 14. Rounding of numbers. There is a number line which is drawn there for work to be much easier when it comes to rounding numbers. The notes. On this number line, there are two hundreds indicated, namely, there is a 300, there is a 400, in the middle there is 350, there is also a C, and there is X. If you look at the 200s which are given there below is 300 and 400, X is marked at 365, and which 100 is near or closest to this number. So it's a matter of choosing, and it will be 400. So 365 rounded off to the nearest 100 will be 400. And when we look at C, C will be 328. And the same question goes, which 100 is closest to this number? And we'll say the answer will be 300. So in that manner, 328 rounded off to the nearest 100 will be 300. Let us use a shorter method because we cannot always be drawing number lines. So there is a chart or a diagram here which indicates the place values and the numbers. We need to make a little of correction there at 0, 5, and at 3, meaning at 100,000, 10,000, and 1,000. So the capital letter H, the last one on your right, it must be a small letter at 100,000, at 10,000, and also at 1,000. So you can just make that correction. Then the notes which are below. First, there are two types of numbers. Those numbers that can score between 5 and 9, and those numbers that cannot score between 0 and 4. Round off 6,053,951 to the nearest 1,000. I'll repeat that one again. Round off 6,053,951 to the nearest 1,000. Number 1, you need to place the bracket on top of the 1,000. The number on your right-hand side of the bracket will determine if you can score. If it can score, you add the 1 to the 1,000. If it cannot score, then the number in the 1,000 remain the same. In this case, my answer will be 6,500,000. I will repeat that again. 6,054,000. To make this much easier, let us go to the chalkboard so that I can explain these notes much better. As I said, we have to cover 3 objectives, whereby there is ordering numbers, comparing numbers, and rounding of numbers. So when it comes to ordering numbers, we have to put these numbers in order, maybe from the smallest to the biggest. Let me just give 4 numbers here. I'll start with 11110. Maybe compare that to 10,111, and then I'll have another one which is 11011. So I'm having 3 numbers. The first one is 11,110. The second one will be 10,111. And the third one is 11,011. So to put these numbers in order, you need to know which number is the smallest and then which number is the largest. Let's say we are putting them in ascending order. Ascending order. If I have to arrange this number in ascending order, I must first start with the smallest number and I must end with the biggest number. So, look at the 3 numbers. Which number could you consider to be the smallest number? Here I'm having 11,000, I have 10,000, I have 11,000. So in that manner, I already know that this number, 10,000, is smaller than 11,000 and 11,000. So in that manner, I'll start with 10,111. The next one, we have 2 numbers. This one is gone. We have 2 numbers that we have to compare also. We have 11,110. We have 11,011. So in that way, there is 100 here, 100, which is a 1. 100, which is a 1, and at the place of 100 here, there is a 0. That way, we know that this number will be the smallest. So I'll write that one first. And the last number, which is the biggest, will be 11,110. So in this manner, you can see that this is the smallest number, followed by that, and the last number, which is the biggest, stays there. So this is ascending order. And if you want to take that back to descending order, you start with the biggest number, which is 11,110, followed by 11,011, and the last one will be 10,111. So ascending order, descending order, small to big, and here is big to small. So that is the part of ordering numbers. I hope you can do the activity in the book which requires you to arrange, and I will end for the first objective with these examples. So continuing with comparing numbers, when you compare numbers, there must be two numbers. For example, I have two numbers here, 46,023 compared to 46,200. Now, if you look at this number, it's a matter of finding out which number is bigger than the other. And we are given three signs to make use of. There is one which is called smaller than or less than, greater than, and equal to. And let's imagine many teachers are using the example of a crocodile, and it have to open to a number which is bigger. Let's say a crocodile, if there are two people, it will always eat what is big because it wants to eat what is bigger than the other. So let's say this is a crocodile, the mouth of a crocodile, and it's going to eat the number which is bigger. So if you look at these numbers which are here, 46,000, 46,000, and I have end 23, but here I have 200, meaning this is bigger than this. So the crocodile here will obviously go and eat the number which is big. So in short, comparing numbers, we use the relationship signs, smaller than, greater than, and equal to compare numbers, to see which number is bigger than the other. So in most cases, some numbers are confusing. They may come in this manner. You might have 1, 1, 1, 0, and then you have 1, 1, 0, 1. How many digits do you have here? I have 4. How many digits you have here? You have 4. And then to compare, if you look at this, is unit, 10, 100, and 1,000. Unit, 10, 100, and 1,000. Let us start comparing, starting with the first digit here, 1,000. You have 1, you have 1. Fine. There is no any difference. We go to the hundreds. We have 1 and we have 1. Still the same. There is no difference. We come to the tens. The tens, you have 1. Here you have 0. 1 and 0, 1 is bigger than 0. So in that manner, you can already tell that the crocodile will go for what is big. So that is to do with comparing numbers. Now we need to move to rounding of numbers. Rounding of numbers may require few certain things that you need to do as a person. And you need to remember these examples or points that I'm going to explain to you so that you will be a good learner when it comes to rounding of numbers. You'll be given a number, for example, 46,023. And remember in the previous presentation, I was talking about place values. The last number is always a unit, a 10, 100, 1,000, and a 10, capital T, a 10,000. If you look at these numbers, the question can come, round off the number to the nearest 10. Round off the number which you are given to the nearest 10. Remember, this 10 can be also ST. If I have tens, and that is the same thing. So the number we are rounding off will be 2, which is in position of tens. Now, you need to understand one thing. If you are rounding off 2, there is a number that you need to look at. The number you need to look at is the next number to your right. I'll put LA. Number you need to look at, which is the next number on your right. That number, when you look at it, you need to understand this. Ask yourself a question. Can 3 change 2? In the notes, we talk about scores. It's the same thing. If a number can score or if it cannot score. But in this manner, I'll use the word if it can change. Numbers which can score, they said from 0 to 4, they cannot score. From 5 to 9, those numbers can score. Now you are looking at the number you are looking at, if it falls in this category A, it will not change the number you are rounding off. But if it's falling in this category B, then it can change the number you are rounding off. Now let's go back to the number. You have 46,023. We are rounding off 2. The number we need to look at is 3. We ask ourselves a question. Can 3 change 2? Yes or no? If 3 falls under this category, it cannot change 2. If 3 falls in this category, it will change 2. By how? By adding 1 to 2. But if it cannot change 2, 2 will remain the same. I can see that 3 falls in this category. So 3 cannot change 2. 2 will remain the same. In a place of 3, I put a 0. Numbers that comes before, I write them as they are. And this is your answer. Now, if you look at this sign which I just put here, it's not an equal sign. Remember about the equal sign or the equal to. This is called approximation. This is not an actual answer. It's the same thing as maybe you are at home, you are asked to go buy bread. How much can you go with to the shop? Obviously, you say maybe $20 because you know the bread will be less than that. So it's not the actual price that you are going to pay there. So this is just an estimate. That's why we use approximation. I'll do another example. For you to understand it much, much better. Let us look at this number. I'll put a number here. I'll have 493. Then we have to say, round off this number to the nearest 100. H is 100. We have a unit, we have a 10, we have 100. Now, the number we are rounding off here is 100, it's in position of 100. So that number will be a 4. Remember, there is a number you need to look at, which is 9. Ask yourself a question, can 9 change 4? Yes, 9 can change 4 because 9 is in this category. If 9 is in that category, it will change 4. And by changing 4, we are adding 1 to 4. And our answer will become 5, 0, 0. And that will be your final answer. Remember, approximation is very important. So this example is quite easy, and there can be also another challenging one. For example, we can have 5, 0, 1. And then they say, round off that to the nearest 1,000. Remember, we have a unit, we have a 10, we have 100. But we are asked to round off to the nearest 1,000. There is no a number. When there is no a number, we know that there is also a 0 there. So 0 is nothing, 0 is a placeholder, so there is 0 there. Let's imagine there is 0. All you have to do is, we are rounding this 0. I put it there, of course it wasn't there, and this number looks a bit funny because it's a 0 before another meaningful digit. In this manner, you can see that 5, the number you need to look at is 5. The question is, can 5 change 0? Yes, why? 5 is between 5 and 9. So 5 will change 0. And 0, by changing 0, we are adding 1. 1 added to 0, we of course have a 1. In a place of this, I put a 0, place of that, a 0, place of that, a 0. Our answer is 1,000. So in short, when it comes to rounding off, there is a number you need to look at. There are two categories, between 0 and 4, and between 5 and 9. And there is also a change by adding 1 if it falls in this category. And our final answer should be approximation. If you read and master these 4 components, then you never have a problem with rounding off. So I believe you have enjoyed this explanation. Now we need to go back to our worksheet in our book, in our booklet, so that I can go through with you question by question. Okay, we are now going to do the worksheet on page 15, which have to end on page 16. But let us go to page 15 and start with our activity that you need to do at home. I will go through with you, but you have to do this on your own. I will just explain where you need to, where there is a need for change and so on and so on. The first one, number one, you need to write these numbers in order from the smallest to the largest. And that is also called ascending order. So the numbers are there, under A and B, so you have to arrange them. That is arranging. Number two, you need to write the following numbers in descending order. So you are going to arrange numbers from the biggest to the smallest under A and under B. We go to the third question, which you need to use the signs, the three signs, to make the statements true or to prove your answer. So from A until J, you see that one number is written in numeric, the other one is written in words. The best way to compare this number is to make sure you write the number written in word to write it in numeric. For example, under A, it's 23,063. You must write that in numeric so that you can compare that with 210,000. You must write that in numeric to compare it to 210,000. So the column in the middle there, it should be provided or reserved for the sign that you are going to put. Remember, the crocodile must eat what is big. Now we have to move to page 16, whereby number 4 is there. We need to complete the following table by rounding off the numbers. You need to round off these numbers. The first number is 3,788. You must round that number to the nearest 10. Remember that 10 is also D. You have to round off also the same number to the nearest 100. 100 is written in numeric, so you need to also understand that that 100 is also H, capital H. The nearest 1,000 and the nearest 10,000 is the same. And if you look at the first number, which is 3,788, rounded to the nearest 10,000, I have done that example for you. I've done that example for you on the chalkboard. So remember, somewhere you need to put a 0, and then you just round off. Boys and girls, I hope you are going to complete your work. If you do not understand, ask your teacher. If you do not understand, ask your parents to help you. I hope you make sure you get your work in a correct manner. Let us not forget to sanitize our hands. Make sure your hand is sanitized and keep the social distance by stretching. And I thank you and goodbye.
Hi everyone, I'm Shashi. And Simon says don't touch your face, your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. unless your hands are super clean.